I'm Chris Wallace of Fox News, and I welcome you to the first of the 2020 presidential debates. First for you, sir, finally for the vice president. I hope neither of you will interrupt the other.
Looking forward to this, Mr. President.
Thank you, Joe. We have a president.
He's elected to the next
during
election.
that period of time.
The
And the
election's
100
already
million
started.
people, Joe, you're going to extinguish 180 million people with their private health care that they're very
That's
happy
simply
with.
not true.
Well, you're certainly
knows
going
that.
to socialist.
Go
You're
ahead.
going to socialist medicine.
We're now into, gentlemen, we're now into open discussion.
Open discussion.
Open discussion.
It's not what you've said,
But
and it's not what
that
your
is-
party has said.
that is simply
Your party
a lie.
doesn't say it. Your
That
party
is
wants to
simple.
go socialist
My
medicine
party is
and
me.
socialist
Right
health
now,
care.
I am
And
the
they're going to
Democratic
dominate
Party.
you, Joe. You know that.
The platform of the
Not according
Democratic
to
Party
Harris.
is what I...
Joe, you've had
Pre-existing conditions.
308,000 military people dying. Don't tell me
I'm
about
happy
this.
to talk about
And
this.
if you were here,
Look,
it
here's
wouldn't be
the deal.
200, it would be 2 million people because you were very late on the draw. You
Late
didn't
on
want
the
me to
draw.
ban China.
All right, gentlemen,
Europe, which was heavily
Mr.
influenced.
President,
You would have
Mr.
been much
President,
later, Joe.
Mr. President,
Much later.
Mr. President,
You're talking about 2 million people.
You're not gonna be able
President,
to
as
shut
the
him up.
moderator.
The election is already
You don't know it's
begun.
on the ballot.
I-
Why is it on the ballot?
Because
Why is it
you
on the
said
ballot? It's not
you're-
on the ballot.
It's on the ballot in the
I
court.
don't think so.
In the court. Well,
There's nothing happening there.
Donald, would you
And you
just be
don't
quiet
know
for a
her view on Roe v. Wade. You
I
don't
don't
know her
know.
view.
Well, all right. Let's talk. We got a lot to unpack here, gentlemen. We got a lot of time. So, on health care, then we'll come back to Roe v. Wade.
All right.
You have spent the last
Because they
If
want to
I-
give
if I-
good
if I-
health care.
If I may ask my question, sir.
Good health care.
You have never in these 4 years come up with a plan, a comprehensive plan
Yes,
to
I have.
replace Obamacare.
Of course I have.
Well, I'll
I
give
got
you an
rid of the individual
when I finish,
mandate.
I'm going to give you an
Excuse me.
opportunity.
I got rid of the individual mandate, which was a
That is
big
not a
chunk of
comprehensive
That
plan.
is absolutely a big thing. That was the worst
I
part of
didn't ask
Obamacare.
Sir,
Chris,
you're
that was the
debating him,
worst
not
part
me.
of Obamacare.
Let me ask my
Well,
question.
I'll ask Joe.
The
Individual mandate was the most unpopular aspect of Obamacare. I got rid of it.
I'd like
and
you
we
to,
will protect
Mr.
people
President,
with
I'm the
pre-existing
moderator of this
conditions.
debate, and I would like you to let me ask my question, and then you can answer your
Go ahead.
question. You signed a largely symbolic executive order to protect people with pre-existing conditions 5 days before this debate. What is the Trump health care plan?
Fine. Well, let me just tell you something, that there's nothing symbolic. Drug prices will be coming down 80 or 90%. So we're cutting health care.
What about
All of the
pre-existing
things that
conditions?
we've done,
He has not cut
insulin.
health
I give
care.
you an example, insulin. We're going to allow our governors now to go to other countries to buy drugs because
When in
they
fact-
pay just a tiny fraction.
As I say,
of
this
what we
is
do.
open discussion.
No,
Let
but
me
this
ask
is
you about,
big.
you'll
This
be
is
happy,
big stuff.
sir, and
Yes.
the argument that he makes.
It is
and
not.
will, if I can
sorry.
ask you the question, it will
Not
end.
what your party says, by the way.
It will end private insurance and create a government takeover of health care.
It does not. It's only for those people who are so poor they qualify for Medicaid, number one.
Joe, you
Number
agreed
two.
with Bernie Sanders, who's
I
far
did-
left, on the manifesto,
when
we
you-
call it.
when
And that
manifest-
gives you socialized medicine.
Look, hey,
Are you
I'm
saying
not
you
going to
didn't
listen to
agree?
him. The fact of the matter is, I beat Bernie Sanders.
Not by much.
I beat him a whole hell of a lot. I'm
Not by
here
much.
standing facing you, old buddy.
Pocahontas would have left
Well,
2 days
I tell
early.
you,
You would have lost every primary.
All he knows how to
on
do
Super
is hurt.
Tuesday. You got
Look,
very lucky.
here's the deal. I got very lucky. I'm going to get very lucky tonight as well. And tonight I'm going to
With
make
what?
sure, because
With what?
here's the deal. I'm not here to call out his lies. Everybody knows he's a liar.
But you
I just
agree.
want to
Hey,
make
Joe,
sure.
Joe, you're the liar.
I want to make sure.
Graduated last in your class, not first in your class.
I want to make
Mr.
sure.
President, can you let him finish, sir?
No, he doesn't know how to do that. He has,
You'd be
you know,
surprised.
you pick
You'd be surprised.
the
Go ahead,
wrong
Joe.
guy,
Talk,
the wrong
Joe,
night at
go.
the wrong time.
Listen, you agreed with
Here's the
Bernie
deal.
Sanders to the
The
manifesto.
whole idea.
Now
let
you're
him-
disavowing it.
There is no manifesto, number
Please
one.
let him speak, Mr.
Number
President.
two.
You just lost the left.
Number two.
You just lost the left.
Folks,
That's absolutely
folks,
agreed
do you
to,
have any
and under that
idea
plan,
what
you have
this clown's
socialized,
doing?
They call it
Mr.
Medicare.
Do you
Mr.
have any
President.
do?
Socialized medicine.
Mr.
Well, I
President.
tell you what, because his
Bernie?
number
Oh,
two,
yeah.
he won't ever look you in the eye and say that's what he wants to do. Take it away.
No, I want to give them
number
better
three.
health care at a much lower price
But-
because
and by the way,
Obamacare
he doesn't
is
know
no
how.
good.
He doesn't know how
I've
to do
already
that.
fixed it.
He has never
I've
offered
already
a
fixed
plan.
it to an extent.
He has never
Obamacare,
done a
as you
single
might
thing.
know, but probably don't.
Gen-
Gentlemen, you
Obamacare
realize
is no
if you're
good,
both
Joe.
speaking at the
It's no
same
good,
time,
and it's too expensive.
let the president. Go ahead, sir.
Obamacare is no good. We guarantee pre-existing conditions, but took away the individual mandate. Listen, this is the way it is. And that destroyed, they shouldn't even call it Obamacare. Do I let my people run it really well, or badly. I said, you got to run it so well.
That's what he's
and I
known
just had a meeting with them. It's too expensive.
I got it.
Premiums
I
are
got
too
it.
high, and
That's
it
what his
doesn't work.
people- that's what his
So
people said.
we do
No,
want to
no,
get
no.
rid of it.
It's
Chris,
an
we
open
want to get rid of it.
I
and
understand
give
it, sir,
something
but I have
that's
to
cheaper
give
and better.
you roughly equal time.
Good.
Please let the vice president talk.
Good.
He has no plan for health care. Of
course we do.
Please.
He sends out wishful thinking.
All right.
He's
I have
against
one final question for you.
Sure.
In,
Well, I'm
the,
saying
in the Congress. Court.
whatever position I take on that, that'll become the issue. The issue is the American people should speak. Vote and let your senators know how
you gonna
strongly
pack
you
the
feel.
court?
Vote now.
gonna pack the
Make
court?
sure you, in fact, let people know
He doesn't
you're
wanna
a
answer the
senator.
question.
I'm not going to answer the question
Why
because
wouldn't you answer that
because
question?
the
You wanna
question
put a
is
lot of
the
new
question
Supreme Court
is
justices,
the
radical
question,
left.
Will you
Who
shut
is
up,
on,
man?
Listen, who is on your list, Joe?
This
Who's
is
on your
so
list?
right.
Gentlemen,
This is-
I think
This
we've
is
ended
so
this.
He's going to pack the
unprecedented.
court.
That
We
is
have
so-
not going to give a list.
We have ended this segment. We're going to move on to the second segment.
That was really a productive segment, wasn't it? Keep yapping, man.
The people understand, Joe.
They sure do.
47 years, you've done nothing. They understand.
All right. The question goes to you first, sir. 2 minutes uninterrupted.
He told us what a great job she was doing. He still doesn't have a plan. I laid out
Sir,
back
it's
in
his 2
March
minutes.
exactly
it's so
what we
wrong.
should be doing.
So if we would have listened
Wait,
to
wait. You have 2 minutes, sir.
because you didn't think I should
unrelated
have
to
closed
your
our country.
COVID.
No,
Wait
sir,
a
It's
minute.
his 2 minutes.
President Trump did a phenomenal job. We worked with the governor. Oh, really? Go take a look. The governors said I did a phenomenal job. Most of them said that. In fact,
I know how to get the job
well, you didn't do
done.
very well in swine flu. H1N1. Chief of Staff said you were a disaster.
14,000 people died, and there was
A
no
very-
economic recession.
Sir, you made a
There was
wait, no,
less
there was no
lethal
recession.
disease,
You made
by
a
the way.
point. Let him answer
And
it.
there was no one, so you could, in fact, say goodbye.
You would have lost far
How
more
many
people.
That
Far
is-
more people.
And,
You would have been
And by the way,
months late.
your own,
You were
his
months behind me,
his
Joe.
own CDC director says
You don't
we trust
trust
Dr.
Johnson
Fauci.
& Johnson, Pfizer?
And
Okay,
by the way,
gentlemen,
and
gentlemen, let me.
If I call
So
him
you're
left, I don't know
suggesting
what
that
I
the
call him.
head of your Operation Warp Speed, Dr. Slawi,
I disagree with him. I had him in my office 2 days ago.
He talked about just
Because
like
he
Dr.
said it's a
Redfield.
possibility. It could also
I'm
be
talking about
after
when it's
that.
generally available. not when
Well,
it'll
we're
be.
going to deliver it right away. We have our military that
this is
delivering
the
the
same
vaccine.
man
It's
who
all
told
set
you.
up.
And by the way, maybe you could inject some bleach in your arm, and that would take care of it. This is the
That
same
was
man.
said sarcastically,
That was
and you
him.
know that. And then I said, supposing you brought the light inside the body, which you can do, either through the skin or in some other way. And I think you said you're going to test that too. Sounds interesting. Right, and then I see the disinfectant, where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning? That was said sarcastically.
And so here's the deal. Pray God we will.
Mr. Vice President, I want to pick up
You'll have
on
the
that.
vaccine
I
sooner
want to
than
pick
that.
up on this question, though. But you're saying
Everybody
you can't, or
knows.
Senator
And-
Harris is saying you
no,
can't trust the scientists.
No, you can trust the scientists.
I would trust the word of public health experts and scientists, but not Donald Trump.
You can
She
trust
said the public health
Did say
experts,
that.
quote, will be muzzled, will
Yes.
be suppressed.
Do you trust that in the situation where we're in now, that the public health experts and the scientists will get the last word on the efficacy of a vaccine?
If past is prologue, that they will not. They'll be muzzled. They'll be suppressed.
And by
I
the way,
spoke to the
and Fauci,
scientists that are in
and
charge.
by the way,
They will have
and
the vaccine very soon.
Let him finish.
a lot of people died, and a lot more are going to die unless he gets a lot smarter, a lot quicker.
So-
Mr. President?
Did you use the word smart? You didn't go to Delaware State. Don't ever use that word.
Oh, give me a break.
Because you know what? There's nothing smart about you, Joe. 47 years, you've done nothing.
let's have this debate.
And if
We'll
you
see
would have
who's
had, let me just tell you something, Joe.
See,
and
he,
it's
We're going to
going
get
up
to the
fast.
economy in the next segment, sir.
okay.
It's going up fast. I look
Okay.
forward to talking.
When it comes to
You have to
Tell
provide
that to
them
Nancy
plastic.
Pelosi.
Well, he's just shush for a minute.
Tell it to
The-
Nancy
the-
Pelosi. And Schumer,
by the
Brian
way,
Chuck.
the Republicans won't meet in the Senate, and he sits on his golf course, and well, I mean, literally, think about it.
You probably
Or
play
think
more than
about
I
it.
do, Joe.
what about this question of reopenings and the fact
Well, he wants to shut down this country.
Oh.
And I want to keep it open. And we
You
did a
ju- he
great thing
just
by
admitted
shutting
he
it
shut
down.
it down.
Wait a minute,
Let
Joe.
him
Let me
finish,
shut
sir.
you down for a second, Joe, just for 1 second. More people will be hurt on
yeah.
November
I want to
3rd.
move on to another
because
subject.
it's a
I want to move
political
on to
thing.
another
I've
subject.
gotta
But
respond.
those,
I
but
wanna
those
move,
states,
gentlemen, I
those
wanna move
states
on to
are
another
not
subject.
doing well that are shut down
Which is
right
gotta
now.
respond to that.
President
shut
Trump,
down the
you
whole
have
country.
begun. Are you questioning
No, I think
the
masks are
efficacy
okay.
of
You have to
masks?
understand, if you look, I mean, I have a mask right here. put a mask on, when I think I need it. I
Just
wear
like your
masks
rallies.
when needed. I will say
Vice
this.
President Biden, go ahead, sir.
The
But
Congress,
I was asking you, sir, about masks.
it matters.
And they've also
It
said the
matters.
opposite. They've
And
also said the opposite.
no serious person said the opposite.
They've
No
also said, well, look
serious
all right, I
at
wanna
Dr.
ask you-
Fauci. Dr. Fauci said the
He
opposite.
did not
I
say
want to
the
ask you, we
opposite.
got a
said
little
very
bit more than
strongly,
a minute left in this
masks
segment.
are not good. Then he changed his mind. He said masks are good.
I
I'm
wanna
okay
ask-
with masks.
I
I'm
want to
not
ask you
fighting
both about
masks.
one last subject. President Trump, you're holding large rallies with crowds packed together, thousands of people.
Outside.
Outside, yes, sir, agreed. Biden, you are holding much smaller events with
Because nobody will show up.
people with.
Well, it's true. Nobody shows up to his rallies.
all right.
People want to hear what I have to say. I mean,
But are you
I've
not
done a
worried
great
about it
job
spreading
as a
disease?
president, and I'll have 35,000 people show up at airports. We use airports.
Are you
for
not worried
hangars,
about
and we
the
have a
disease
lot of
issue,
people.
sir?
Well, so far we have had no problem whatsoever.
Tonight, FLOTUS, First Lady of the United States, as in Melania Trump. FLOTUS and I tested positive for COVID-19.
And Joe does the circles and has 3 people someplace.
Okay.
By the way, did you see
Yes, sir.
one of the last big rallies he had? I'm way far away from those other people. He's not worried about you. He's not worried about the people out there breathing in one another.
We've had no
or
negative
cheek to
effect.
jowl. No negative effect.
We've
Come
had
on.
no negative effect, and we've had 35, 40,000
All right.
people
wanna
at these rallies.
Just
Yes.
quickly finish up because I want to move on to our next.
Yes, I would.
All right.
Ben, he's a fool on this.
If you could get, nobody cares.
Gentlemen,
Joe.
can we move on
Nobody
to the
cares.
gentlemen?
Much
This-
faster.
In the second quarter,
How well are you doing? This guy paid
Well.
a total of $750 in
wrong.
taxes.
sir,
Many
sir,
millions.
wait,
How
wait,
many-
no, sir, it's
It's
his
the wrong
Yeah, I understand. You've agreed to the 2 minutes, so please let him have it.
Do I get my time back? So we can open safely.
All right, your time is up, sir. We are going to get to.
I have to respond to that.
Well, you both had 2 minutes, sir.
Excuse me, he made a statement.
So did you.
People want their schools, no, people want their places open. They want to get back to their lives.
People
They'll
want
be
to be
careful,
safe.
but they want their schools open.
People
want
I'm
to
the
be
one that
safe.
brought back football. And
All right, let's-
people of
let's-
Ohio are very proud of me. And you know
We're
how
gonna
I
get
found
back-
out? When
we're-
he took
gentlemen,
a phony
we're gonna
ad.
get-
There was a story in one of the papers.
Show us your tax
I paid
returns.
$38 million one year. I paid $27 million
Show us your tax
one year.
returns.
And we have a I built
Sir,
a great
I'm asking
company.
you a specific question, which
But
is.
let me tell you-
I understand all of that.
Release your
I
tax
understand all of
return.
that.
But let me-
No, Mr. President.
Go ahead.
I'm asking you a question. You paid millions of dollars.
Millions of dollars.
So
yes.
not 750.
Millions of dollars, and you'll get to see it.
I-
And you'll get to
When?
see it. But let
In
me just
Shalom?
tell you. Now the man got
wait,
fired
no,
right after that happened. But
Vice
that's
President Biden, you want to respond?
I'm going to eliminate the Trump tax cuts, and I'm going to eliminate those tax
Okay.
cuts. People out there need help.
But why didn't you
Ask
do it
them-
over
No,
the
no,
last
no,
25
wait, no,
years?
let's-
Because
I
you
wanna-
weren't
Why didn't
president.
you do it over
Because
the
you
last
weren't
25
president
years? No,
screwing
no,
things
no, no.
up.
You were a senator. And
You're
by
the
way,
worst
you were a
president
vice-
America has ever had.
Hey,
Come
Joe,
on.
let me just tell you, Joe. We've done things that you never even thought of doing,
Okay,
including
gentlemen.
fixing the broken military that you gave me, including taking care of
we're
your
talking,
vets.
Mr. President, we're talking about the economy. Mr. Vice President, your economic plan, if you were to be
He has
elected
none.
president,
Every penny of that has to be made by a company
but
in
respectfully,
America.
sir, I'm talking about taxes, not spending.
Well, billions of dollars.
didn't you do it
Billions
before
of
when
dollars.
you were vice president with Obama?
Because you, in fact, passed that. That was
That's right.
your
I got
tax
it-
proposal.
I got it done. And you know what happened?
you got it done.
Our economy boomed
And,
like it's never boomed
The
before.
economy
Well,
is
Mr.
busted.
President,
let me
wait, no,
finish.
let me-
Not lower taxes for the American people.
Let me.
Excuse me.
But
They had the slowest recovery since economic recovery since 1929. But they had the slowest economic recovery. Half of the companies that have poured in here will leave, and plenty
Half
of
of the
companies that are
companies-
already here, they'll leave for
hardly any
other
companies
places.
have
They will
poured in
leave,
here.
and you will have a
Have it.
depression, the likes of which you've never seen.
Look,
Mr.
we
Vice President.
inherited. We handed him a booming economy. He blew it.
It wasn't
he Blew
booming.
it. He blew it.
It wasn't booming. It was the weakest recovery
well, sir, is it
since
fair to
1929.
is it fair to say he blew it when, in
When
fact, there was
COVID came in.
when there was record low unemployment
Yeah.
before COVID?
Manufacturing went in the hole.
Excuse
number
me,
one.
Chris. Wait.
Number two.
Chris.
Number three.
They said it would take. No, you were number two.
No.
Chris. They said it would
This
take a
guy is
miracle to bring back manufacturing. They brought back nothing. They gave up on manufacturing.
We
Part
did
of
not
my
regret-
standard fare.
I'm the guy that
He
brought
totally
back
gave
the
up on
automobile industry.
manufacturing.
All right, let him.
We brought back, I was asked to bring back Chrysler and General Motors. We brought them back. He blew it. And in fact, They're going
Ohio
after
had the best year it's ever had last year. Michigan had the best year they've ever had.
That is not
Many
true.
car companies came in from Germany, from Japan,
no,
went to Michigan, went to Ohio.
They're not having
And
that.
they didn't come in with you.
Mr. Vice President, go ahead.
We have the highest trade deficit
China
with
ate
Mexico.
your lunch, down
All right, gentlemen,
18%. China ate your lunch, Joe. And also,
Simply
while we're
not
at it,
true.
why is it, just out of curiosity, the mayor of Moscow's wife gave your son $3.5 million.
is
What
not
did he
true.
do to deserve it?
That
What
is
did he do with Burisma
none
to
of that-
deserve
Wait, wait,
$183,000?
None
You've
of
asked
that
your
is
question,
true.
let him answer. If-
None of that is true. It's
Oh, really?
been
He didn't
totally,
get
But no,
$3.5
hey,
million?
Mr. President,
It's
Mr.
totally-
President, please. You've asked
totally
a question.
discredited. Totally discredited. And by the way,
Well, wait, he
let's
didn't get
No, no.
$3.5 million, Joe?
Mr. Vice,
He got
Mr.
$3.5 million.
President,
that is not true.
Oh,
Here's-
really?
Mr.
Oh.
President,
But,
it's an open discussion, please.
Now,
It's a fact.
Well,
It
you
is
have
not a
raised an
fact.
issue. Let the
It's been
Vice
totally
President answer.
discredited.
Did
There was a
Burisma pay him
report.
$183,000 a month with no experience in energy?
Mr.
Look,
President,
no
my
job?
son did nothing wrong at Burisma.
I think he did.
and
Mr.
the only guy
President,
that
let
did
him
something-
answer.
His position has been totally, thoroughly discredited.
who?
And
The media?
By everybody. Well, by the
By the
media,
media,
by our
because they refuse to
allies, by
talk
the
about it
World
because they're
Bank,
embarrassed.
by everyone has discredited. Matter of fact, even the people
President,
who
please stop.
testified under oath.
So let
under
me ask you
oath,
this,
under-
Joe.
under
No, no,
oath.
go ahead, Mr. I'm listening to
Even the
you.
people under.
He got $3.5 million from
testified-
Moscow.
He testified under oath, and his administration said, "I did my job and I did it very well.
Oh,
I
really?
did it
I'd like to know
honorably."
who they are.
Well, I'll give you the list of the
fire
people who
them.
testified.
No, go ahead, sir.
Sure, you've already fired most of them because they did a
Some
good
because
job.
some people don't do a
well,
good
here's
job. With you,
Go
they
ahead.
said-
You get
here's
the,
the
wait a
deal.
minute. You get the final word, Mr.
Well, it's hard to get any word in with this clown. Excuse me, this.
Hey,
this
let me just
person.
say, Joe.
No. Mr. President.
$3.5
Mr.
million,
President.
Joe.
That is simply.
Why did
not
he
true.
deserve $3.5 million
He
from
did-
Moscow?
Look, here's the deal. His family's
My
already.
family,
No, let him go.
my
Let-
family
already
lost
wrote-
a fortune by
Go ahead.
coming down and helping
Go
us
ahead.
with
Go ahead,
government.
sir.
And that's such a.
they're right
That's
here.
it, Mr.
That's
President.
such
Every
a great.
single one of them lost
This
a
is not
fortune
about
by
President.
my
coming and
family or his
helping us
family.
with
It's
government.
about your family,
They
the
didn't collect
American people.
$3.5 million
He
for
doesn't.
nothing.
That's not true. It doesn't want to talk about what you need. That's what we're talking about
you
here.
should
All right,
Not
that's the, end
about
of the,
here.
that's the end of the
Shouldn't have
segment.
taken the money.
We're moving on.
He didn't take them.
Well,
Vice
it's a
President,
but Chris,
no,
can I be honest? It's a very important
Try to be
question.
honest.
No,
He
I-
stood up.
No,
he stood up,
the answer to
and
the
he
question is
threatened
no.
Ukraine.
No, sir.
With $1 billion if you don't
That
get rid
is
of Russia.
You know what? You're,
absolutely
wait,
not
stop.
You're on
true.
tape doing it.
You're going to
Not
have
tape.
True.
Gentlemen,
Is-
I hate to raise
Chris,
my voice, but
he's on
it seems
tape.
to be, why should I be different than the two of you? So here's the
Got a
deal.
good point.
I think that the country would be better served if we allowed both people to speak with fewer interruptions. I'm appealing to you, sir, to do that.
Well, and him too.
Well, frankly, you've been doing more interrupting
Well, that's
than
all
he
right,
has.
but he does plenty.
Well, less than, sir, less
there's
than.
plenty.
No, less than you have. Let's please continue on. Vice President Biden, you say that President Trump's response to the violence in Charlottesville 3 years ago, when he talked about very fine people on both sides, was what directly led you to launch this run for president.
Oh, yeah, sure.
President Trump, you have often said that you believe you have done more for black Americans than any president, with the possible exception of Abraham Lincoln. My question for the two of you is, why should voters trust you rather than your opponent to deal with the race issues facing this country over the next 4 years? Vice President Biden, you go first.
A young woman got killed. And they asked the president what he thought. He said there were very fine people on both sides. No president has ever
Finish
said
the
anything
statement.
like that.
Finish the
It
statement.
is whose
Now,
2
second-
minutes, sir.
So,
President Trump, you have 2 minutes. Why should Americans trust you over your opponent to deal with
he
race
did
issues?
a crime bill. You called them super predators, African Americans, the super predators, and they've never forgotten it.
Madam President, we have predators on our streets that society has, in fact, in part because of its neglect, created.
They've never forgotten it, Joe.
never said
No, sir, it's his 2 minutes.
So you did that.
All right. I want to return to the question of race.
Violence is never appropriate.
All right. Ms.
What is peaceful
President-
protest? When they run through the middle of a
President-
town
President Trump-
and burn down your
President Trump,
stores and kill people
President
all over
Trump-
the place,
That
and you
is
say
not
peaceful
peaceful
protest?
President
No,
Trump,
it's
I'm not
not, but
asking-
you say it is.
I did
President
not
Trump, I'd
say
like to continue with the
Yes,
issue
go
of
ahead,
race. I
please.
promise we're going to get to the issue of law and order in a moment.
and you know it, and so does everybody
what
else.
is radical,
and he would know.
What is
Oh, it was
radical
totally
about
racist.
racial sensitivity training, sir?
If you were a certain person, you had no status in life, and they were teaching people to hate our country. And I'm not going to allow that to happen.
Vice President Biden?
Nobody's doing that. He's the racist.
You just don't know.
Here's the deal. I know a lot more about
You
this
don't
than he
know.
does.
Let him finish.
We can take this on and we can defeat racism
Vice
in America.
President Trump, sir.
During the Obama-Biden administration, there was tremendous division. Frankly, it was more violent than what I'm even seeing now.
Oh, my
but the
Lord.
reason
This
is
is
that
ridiculous.
the Democrats that run these
Absolutely
cities
ridiculous.
don't want to talk like you about law and order.
Violent
and you
crime,
still haven't mentioned.
violent
Are you in
crime.
favor of law and order?
I'm in favor of law. You following
Are you in
it, and a little
favor
bit
of law and order? Go
yes,
ahead,
I'm
say
in
it.
favor.
You
Everybody's
asked a
in favor
question,
of
let him finish.
Law
He
and order.
loses
Law
lefty.
and
Let
order.
let him answer.
Law and order with justice, where people get treated fairly.
All right.
It's gone up on his watch.
Went down
He-
much more
he
than
had-
ours.
All right, we're
He
not.
is
You're,
China
of the
Mr. President, you're going
United
to.
States of America.
We
Mr.
were
President,
breaking every record in the book.
Mr. President, you're going to be very happy because
And the
we're now going to
places
talk
we-
about law and order.
Places we had trouble were Democratic-run cities.
That's
and
exactly
is
my question.
Democratic-
There has been a dramatic increase in homicides in America.
Nobody's ever seen anything. The numbers are going up 100, 150, 200% crime.
Republican
It is
cities.
crazy what's going on. And he doesn't want to say law and order because he can't. And once he does that, it's over with. But if he ever got to run this country, we would have
We would
our
run it
suburbs
the
would be
way-
gone. By the way,
Suburbs.
our suburbs would be gone. And you would see problems like you've
He
never
would
seen.
know a
before.
suburb unless he took a wrong turn.
Oh, I know suburbs
He would not.
so much
I was
better.
raised.
Go ahead,
I was,
wait a minute.
I was
So much
raised in the suburbs. They're being burned out because his refusal to do anything. That's why the suburbs are in trouble.
I do want to talk about this issue of law and order, though. First of all, what does reimagining policing mean, and do you support?
It means
Let me, if I might finish the question. What does reimagining policing mean, and do you support the Black Lives Matter?
his budget calls for a $400 million cut in local law enforcement assistance. They need more assistance. And so we have to be engaged.
That's not what
in
they're
prevent-
talking about,
That's-
Chris. That's
well,
not what
that-
they're
that's
He's talking about
exactly-
defunding the police.
That is not true.
He doesn't have any law
Would you-
support.
look,
He has no law enforcement
That's not
support.
true.
Almost
That's
nothing.
not. Look,
Oh, really? Who do you have? Name one group that supports you. Name one group that came out and supported you. Go
Look,
ahead.
look.
Think. We have time.
we don't have time to do
No,
anything.
think
so
about
listen,
it.
look,
Name
folks,
one law enforcement group that came out and
I
supported
think, gentlemen,
you,
I think
Joe.
I'm going to take back the
There aren't.
moderator's
I don't
role,
think there
and
are any.
I want to get to another subject, which is the issue of protests, which I think you would agree. You talk about peaceful protests. Many of those turned
We're not
into
peaceful.
riots.
Violence should be prosecuted. It should be prosecuted. And anyone who commits it
But
should
you've
be
never
prosecuted.
called for the people,
He's never
the
said
leader. Excuse me, sir. You had never called for the leaders in Portland and in Oregon to
Because
bring in
they-
the National Guard and knock off 100 days of riots.
They can, in fact, take care of it if he just stay out of the way. Look here.
Oh, really?
Here,
Oh, really?
here's the
But
thing.
I sent in the
wait, I
U.S.
asked him a
Marshals to
question.
get the killer
No,
of the
that-
young man in the middle of the street. They shot him, and for 3
Miss-
days,
President Trump,
Portland
President
wouldn't do
Trump,
anything. I
please
had to send in
interrupt-
the U.S. Marshals.
President
They
Trump,
took care of business.
Go ahead, sir.
You know, his own former spokesperson said, you know, riots and chaos and violence help his cause. That's what this is all about.
I don't know who said that.
I do.
Who?
I think Kellyanne Conway.
The more chaos and anarchy and vandalism and violence reigns, the better it is for the very clear choice on who's best on public safety and law and order.
I don't think she said that.
She said that.
don't-
And so here's the
All right.
But here's the point.
Go
The
ahead,
point
sir.
is that that's what he is keeps trying to rile everything up constantly.
And-
every single solitary
Okay,
time.
and to end this, button up this segment, I'm going to give you a minute to answer, sir. You have repeatedly
Well, wait, I
criticized.
have to answer his
No,
statement.
you have
His statement.
repeatedly.
Wait,
you have
just one
no.
second.
You've been talking
You
back
made
and
a
forth.
statement.
I'm asking you.
I would
no,
love to
you know,
end it.
sir.
I would love to end it, and
You
we
know, if
would
you want to
very-
switch seats,
We would
could
very quickly.
We could do that, but
I'd
I'm
send
no,
in
I-
the National Guard. It would be over. There'd be no problem.
Okay,
But they
good.
don't want to accept the National Guard.
You have repeatedly criticized the vice president for not specifically calling out Antifa and other left-wing
That's right.
extremist groups. Are you willing tonight to condemn white supremacists and militia groups?
Sure,
Are you
I'm willing
prepared
to
to
do
specifically
that, but
do it?
Well,
I
go
would
ahead,
say,
sir.
I would say almost everything I see is from the left wing, not from the right wing.
what are you-
If look-
what are you saying?
I'm willing to do anything. I want to see
Well,
peace.
then do it, sir.
Say it. Do it. Say it.
Give me a name. Give me a
White
name. Go ahead.
supremacists and
Who would
right
you like me to condemn?
White
Proud Boys.
supremacists and right-wing
Proud
militia.
Boys. stand back and stand by, because this is not a right-wing problem.
His
This
own
is a left-wing.
FBI director
This
said
is a
the threat
left-wing
of
problem.
white
Go ahead, sir.
supremacists. Antifa's an idea, not an organization.
Oh, you gotta be
not
kidding.
militia. That's what
Oh, really?
his
It's an idea.
His
Okay.
FBI director
Gentlemen,
said.
Well,
we're
then
gonna-
you know what?
No,
He's
no,
wrong.
we're done, sir. We're moving on to the next. We're
Everybody
moving.
gives
When
you
a bat
advice
hits
in
you
your
over the head, that's
administration.
not an idea.
Everybody in
Antifa
your
is bad.
administration tells you the truth has a bad idea.
Can I tell you what?
You have no ideas. that are
Antifa is a dangerous
All right,
radical
gentlemen,
group.
we're now moving on to the Trump
And
and
you ought to be
Biden
careful with
records.
them. They'll overthrow you.
When
in
a
2
president,
seconds.
I'm going to ask a question.
308,000 people died because they didn't have proper health care. It was a mess. By the end of this term,
Fine, sir.
300 judges, it's a record.
Why should voters elect you president as opposed to President Trump?
this
You have 2
president-
minutes uninterrupted.
Under this president, we become weaker, sicker. He's Putin's puppy. He still refuses to even say anything to Putin about the bounty on the heads of American soldiers.
Your son got
And-
$3.5 million.
That's right.
Mi-
And
Mr.
by the way,
President- Mr.
my
President,
son.
wait a minute. Mr. President, your campaign agreed to both sides would get 2-minute answers uninterrupted. Well, your side agreed to it, and why don't you observe what your campaign agreed to as a ground rule, okay, sir?
He never keeps his word. Can you add
No,
back
no,
He's
I'm
a
not
person
asking.
that's
That was a
not yelling
rhetorical
at the
question.
pencil.
Can you
Go
add
ahead,
back
sir.
30 seconds?
Yeah, yes, you
Okay.
may have.
All right.
Go ahead.
He was not a loser. He was a patriot, and the people left behind there were heroes.
Really?
And I resent.
Are you talking
like
about
hell.
Hunter? Are you talking about
I'm
Hunter?
talking about my son, Bo Biden. You're
I
talking
don't
about.
know. I don't know, Bo. I know Hunter.
Yeah, you
Hunter
know
got
Bo.
thrown. Hunter got thrown out of the military. He was thrown out, dishonorably discharged.
That's not true. He
for
wasn't dishonorably
cocaine
discharged.
use, and he didn't have a job until you became vice president. And once you
None of
became
that
vice
is
president,
true.
he made a fortune in Ukraine, in China, in Moscow,
That is simply
and various
not
other places.
true.
He
My
made a
son,
fortune.
my son,
And he didn't have a job.
my son, and I'm proud of him.
But why
I'm
was he
proud of
given
my
tens
son.
of millions
All
of
right.
dollars?
But he
All
wasn't given
right.
tens of
He was
millions of
given
dollars. That
tens
is
of
totally,
millions of
that's
dollars.
been totally
President Trump,
discredited.
you've already been.
Totally discredited.
I think the American people would rather hear about more substantial
So do I.
subjects. Well, you know, as the moderator, sir, I'm going to make a
I know, but when
judgment call
somebody
here.
gets $3.5 million
Okay,
from
great.
the
Let's
mayor
talk
of
about-
Moscow,
Let's
That
talk
is
about-
not
I think it's a
true.
terrible
That
thing.
report is totally
Why did he get
discredited.
it?
I
Mitt
think,
Romney on that committee said it wasn't worth taxpayers' money, that report. It was written for political reasons.
you know, I'd like to talk about climate change.
So would I.
Okay.
You drop a cigarette in there, the whole forest burns down. You've got to have forest management.
What do you
You've got to have
believe?
cuts.
What do you believe about the science of climate change, sir?
You know, we're planting 1 billion trees, the Billion Tree Project, and it's very
Do you
exciting
believe
for a lot of people.
that human pollution, greenhouse gas emissions contributes to the global warming of
I
this
think
planet?
a lot of things do, but I think to an extent, yes. I think to an extent, yes. But I also think we have to do better management of our forests. You can't every year have hundreds of thousands of acres of land just burned to the ground.
But, sir,
That's burning down because of a lack of
But,
management.
sir, if you believe in the science of climate change, why have you relaxed?
Because it was driving energy prices through the sky.
Why have you relaxed fuel economy standards that are going to create more pollution from cars
Well,
and
not
trucks?
really, because what's happening is the car is much less expensive and it's a much safer car. If you did that, the car would be safer. It would be much cheaper by
But in the case of
$3,500.
California, they've simply
No, but you
ignored
would take
your
a lot of cars
roadmap.
off the market. The car has gotten so expensive because they have computers all over the place for an extra little bit
Okay.
of gasoline. And,
That's not-
and I'm okay with electric cars too. But what they've done in California is just
All right.
crazy.
Stop tearing down the forest. And if you don't, then you're going to have significant economic consequences.
What about the argument that
Methane. This is a guy who says that you don't have to have mileage standards for automobiles that exist now. This is the guy who says that, well, the fact is, it's all true. And here's
He's
the deal.
talking about the Green New Deal, and it's not $2 billion
I'm-
or $20 billion, as you said. It's $100 trillion.
I'm talking about
where they want to
the
rip
Biden
down
plan.
Go for a
buildings
minute and then you can go.
and rebuild the building.
No,
It's the
that is
dumbest,
not-
most
that
ridiculous.
is not
where
the
airplanes are out of
minute, sir.
business,
That's it.
where two-car systems are out, where they
Not
want
true.
to take out the cows too.
Not
You know, that's not
true.
true either, right?
Not
this is
true.
this is a $100
Simply,
trillion.
look,
That's more money than our
that is-
country could make in
that is
100
simply
years if we're
not
going.
the case.
All right, let me,
It will-
let me,
it will
let me,
destroy
because,
our
because I
country.
actually, wait a minute, sir. It includes upgrading 4 million buildings, weatherizing 2 million homes over 4 years,
What it's going to do is going to create thousands and millions of jobs, good
$100
paying
trillion.
jobs.
But let him finish, sir.
He doesn't know how to do that.
$100
They-
billion.
By the way, he has an answer for hurricanes. He said maybe we should drop a nuclear weapon on them. They may.
I never said that
That's
at all.
he did say.
You
that.
made it up. You make up a lot of
We are going to be in a position where
All right, gentlemen,
Wait a minute, Chris. So why didn't he do it for 47 years? You were vice president. Why didn't you get the world? China sends up real dirt into the air. Russia does. India does. They all do. The Green New Deal is $100 trillion.
that is
not
not
20
my
billion.
plan.
That's
the Green
well,
New
you want to
Deal
rebuild every
is
building.
not my plan.
You want to
All
rebuild
right,
every.
If he knew
you asked-
anything
wait, no,
about,
no, wait.
if he knew
Gentlemen?
anything
He made a
about,
statement
Gentlemen?
about the military. He said I said something about the military.
Okay.
That is
What
not
he
true.
did
Sir,
is he
you're done in
said
this segment.
he called
Mr.
the
Vice-
military
Mr. Vice President,
stupid bastards.
I
and he
did
said
not
it on
say
tape.
that.
He said
Mr.
stupid
Please,
bastards. He
not
said
sir,
it.
stop.
I would never
I
say
would
that
Play
to the
it.
military.
Play it.
And I want you to know, notwithstanding what you may hear about me, I have incredibly good judgment. One, I married Jill. And two, I appointed Johnson to the academy. I just want you to know that. Let's clap for that, you stupid bastard. Man, you are a dull bunch. Must be slow here, man. Oh.
Mr.
You're on
Vice
tape.
President answered his final question.
The final question is, I can't remember which of all his rantings. was the
I'm having,
final
a little
question.
trouble, I'm having a little trouble myself, but and about the economy and about this question of what it's going to cost.
The economy.
I mean, the Green New Deal and the idea of what your
the
environmental
Green New
changes
Deal,
will do.
The Green New Deal. We're not going to build plants that, in fact, are great polluting plants.
So do you
We're gonna
support
build
the Green New Deal?
Pardon me?
Do you support
No, I don't support the Green
Oh,
New
you
Deal.
don't? Oh, well, that's a
You
big
let-
statement.
I
That
support
means you
the
just
Biden-
lost the radical left.
I support
Oh, you
the
don't?
Biden plan that I put forward.
Okay.
The Biden plan, which is different than what he calls the radical Green New Deal.
All right, gentlemen, final segment.
November 10th. That means that's 7 days after the election, in theory, should have been announced.
Okay.
We have
It has-
major
no,
states with
time-
that.
sir,
All run by
2
Democrats.
minutes is 2 minutes.
All run by
You're-
Democrats. It's
President
a fraud.
Trump,
It's a rigged election.
you're going to be able to continue. You have been charging for months that mail-in balloting is going to be a disaster. You say it's rigged, that it's going to lead to fraud.
They take them. We don't like them. We don't like them.
But
They
what are you
throw
going to
them
do
out
about it?
left
There
and
are
right.
millions of ballots going out
What
right
you
now.
do
What
is
are
you
gonna
go
do?
and vote.
No,
And
no,
that's
I'm not-
okay,
I know
or
your
you go and
complaint. I'm
vote.
asking you about the fact that millions of people
You go
have
and
rece-
vote. You go and
No,
vote
but
like
what I'm
they
saying is, what are
like
you
they
gonna do
used
about
to
the
in
fact
the
that
old.
millions of people?
You either do, Chris. This is a horrible thing for our country.
There is no.
This is not.
There is no.
This is
evidence
not
of
going to
that.
end well.
There is
Okay.
no
This
evidence
is
of that.
not going
Vice
to
President
end well.
Biden-
5 states
fact,
have had
go ahead, sir.
mail-in ballots. He's just afraid of counting the votes because he
You're
knows
wrong.
what the outcome
You're
is.
wrong. I
No,
love
I want
counting
to
the votes.
continue with you on
I
this,
love
Vice
counting the
President
votes.
Biden.
Chris, he's so wrong when he makes a
in fact,
statement
no,
like that.
excuse me, sizable numbers. Sometimes hundreds of thousands of ballots are thrown out because they have not been properly filled out, or there is some other irregularity, or they
can
missed
be fraud.
the deadline. So the question I have is, are you concerned? All right.
Excuse me,
No,
Chris,
no, no.
when you
I
have
a final-
80 million ballots
Gentlemen, I have a final
sent in
question.
and swamping
I-
the system,
you
know it can't be done. You know it can't, and already
All
there's
right,
been
so now-
fraud.
Mail
deception.
service delivers
Wait a minute, gentlemen. And the
185
final
million
question
pieces of mail a
is,
day.
in
million
8
ballots.
states, we can keep talking.
It's
in
a
8 states,
disgrace.
election workers are prohibited, currently by law, 8 states, from even beginning to process ballots, even take them out of the envelopes and
Yes.
flatten them, that it could be days, it could be weeks.
Could be months.
Until we find out who the new president is. So, President Trump, you
I'm
go first.
urging my supporters, and
Are
I
you-
am urging my people. I hope it's going to be a fair election. If it's a fair
You're urging
election,
them what?
I am 100% on board. And I'll tell
what-
you
what does that
from
mean,
a
not go
common
along?
sense,
Does that mean
I'll
you're gonna
tell you
tell
what
your
it means.
people to take to the
It means you
street?
have a fraudulent election. You're
And what
sending
are you
out
gonna do?
80
And
million
what would you
ballots.
do
They're
about that?
not equipped to. Number two,
Okay.
they cheat. 3
So-
days ago, and they all had the name
All right.
military ballots. They were military.
Vice President
you think
Biden.
that's good?
Vice President Biden.
It's already been established. Take
but-
a look at Carolyn
I-
Maloney's
I
race.
asked
and
you had an opportunity
Look
to
at
respond.
Carolyn Monroe.
Go ahead.
They have no idea what
Vice
happened.
President Biden, go ahead.
And this guy,
I want to
if in
see
fact,
an honest
Okay.
ballot count.
Gentlemen, you say that's the end of
Chris,
it? This is the
I
end
wanna
of this
see an
debate?
honest ballot count.
We're
And I
going to
think
leave
he
it
does
there.
too.
To be
he
continued
does.
as in more debates as we go on.